like so much.
Yeah. Okay, so let's check. The stream. So you're leading here.
Oh yeah. All right. Shit. Let me pull these articles
Color
up.
guy. Well, I didn't have time to. I mean, I don't remember. Well, one of the things we can do with this is put up like in a corner.
Oh, like a screen for us to like a page.
Show
the article.
Trump's tweets. Show.
That's perfect. That's like, you know, any professional show you watch, they always got that floating, right?
Do you have the tweet?
No, it's articles. Yeah. The Trump tweet, I can actually find that quickly.
Well,
that one's
let me
interesting.
see something.
That's another story there too.
Email me. Just email me the transgender.
Okay, let's see.
To not to my Yahoo, to my Google.
Okay.
Do you know my Google?
Let me see. It might be remembered in here, but it might not. Nope, I don't have it.
It's AVIZANDUM.CJ@gmail.
All right.
Test, test. Everything working live? It should be.
Attach file. Here we go. This is just the headline, not the actual article, but I can find the article. Let's see. Boom.
Kind of curious if we can throw it up.
Yeah. Well, I figured that would
If
be a
you're
good
watching
start.
live, we're doing show prep.
Sorry, guys.
In the unlikely event that we have a live
Live
viewer.
viewer, right? A live audience. So I'm sure they're enjoying this. If anybody's watching, they're enjoying this.
Test, test. Check, check.
Wait, what? Okay. Yaniv. No, here's the headline. No woman should be forced to give a troll a Brazilian bikini wax. It's terrible.
I'm not sure.
There we go. All right. It's Daily Caller. Oh, it's Daily Caller. Well, we can use that.
Huh. I don't see volume. Check, check, check. Screen says we have it.
All right. Now I'm sending you the full article link. Maybe.
Check, check. Come on now.
AVIZANDUM.CJ. Yeah.
Huh.
All right. So I just sent the whole article. Trans woman in genital waxing case applies for permit to host semi-nude public pool party with children. Yeah, that's just.
That's great.
It's just
Oh, no
we
wonder.
we live in a fairy tale land where like I was watching Malice and I heard him put it a great way. He said, "Welcome to Clownland, where everything is hilarious and nothing is funny." And I was like, "That's a perfect way to describe it." Yeah.
I would have reversed those two words.
Oh, everything is
actually.
funny, but nothing is hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because funny is like, you know, this tastes funny.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, it's just the degree of severity. Yeah.
I think hilarious to me is more synonymous with amusing.
Okay. Yeah.
Funny can be odd.
Like, he's funny. Yeah.
All right. Now can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly. Wow. It came right into my ear.
Yeah, but
That's
it's
what she
coming
said.
through on my phone.
Welcome to 8 Ballin', the show where we watch this lava lamp and see how quickly it progresses.
Yeah, we're gonna turn this off though.
This is fun, right?
Check, check. Come on now.
Come on now. Come on now.
Damn it. Huh.
And have you been seeing any of this Ilhan Omar brother stuff? That shit I don't really want to touch, but
I
it's
don't
an
know
interesting story.
who he is.
Ilhan Omar is a female
Oh, I
representative.
read some of that. I didn't get it. I wasn't.
They're saying that she at some point married her husband, married her brother for immigration purposes, and which kind of to me doesn't make sense because they're still doing chain migration, right? Like maybe that was just a faster way to do it, but I don't know.
Well, there you go. That makes it okay, I guess.
Yeah, we just jump in the line. It's fine. But to me, that's like whatever. That's like a birther claim. That's like I would just like Oh, here we go.
All right, good.
Doesn't make sense because they're still doing chain migration, right?
Wow, the delay isn't that long. All right,
Yeah.
we're good.
Cool. Hey guys.
Put you there. Do you know the date?
Today's the
24th.
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 Yeah.
Oh, you got the glasses. All right.
Does
It
it
is July 24th.
right?
We're a week away from the last day of July, which is a bummer.
Yeah, because then, yeah, man, summer's flying by, and then 5 days into August, I start my new thing. I don't really have that much time.
Summer always goes fast. My glasses half full thing is that the end of summer is the beginning of college football season.
That's true, and fall's my favorite season,
Is it?
strictly for the attire that it allows. You can wear like a button down and a coat over that.
And then
Opens
take
up
the
so many
coat off.
possibilities.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get official. I'm Chris.
I'm Charlie.
It's July 24th, and we are...
8 Bond. Look at that. He's wearing sunglasses today. Oh, I fucked it up.
Whoops.
Well, we'll take that out in post, right?
No.
Right?
We don't do post. We don't do post production editing. We're live. We have balls. Here we go. You know what
Sometimes.
I realized from the last two shows?
Hmm.
I got to swear a little less.
Both of us do, I think.
But I f-bomb a lot.
We're cursing a lot.
Yeah.
That's something that I try to like keep an eye on in my regular like daily life. So I guess I've gotten a little better at it.
But I could hear it's you. There's no live audience. We're always talking about something that I'm passionate about.
Right. Both of us
which
usually,
pulls
yeah.
profanity out of me. So
Right. It just you can't help it. Yeah.
and here and there it's good, and it's a great word to accentuate stuff. But it was too much. It was definitely too much. It was funny. My mom watched one of these, and she goes,
Wow.
"What did she say?"
You're a little mean to that skier.
Oh, she said too intense. I said, "You're not my audience."
Those people are lusting for blood.
I said, "Besides, am I an intense guy?" She goes, "Yeah, but you know." I said, "Look, it's about intensity. That's half the reason I did it was to be cathartic."
Passion. Yeah.
Passion.
Yeah.
All right, so you texted me what you wanted to do tonight. I know enough to compliment you, right? Just in paying attention.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I think you have some.
I think you can
specific
supplement.
takes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
same thing.
imagine. Okay.
Compliments, supplements. I was thinking of it in the same way.
Okay, there we go. Well, yeah, Chris is right. I sent him some screenshots, some articles that I wanted to talk about, and nothing that I'm too excited to discuss, just because we're going to be treading choppy waters, dangerous waters. I don't know what the saying is, if there is one. Now there is. But stuff about the squad, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, her 3 cohorts, the Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib, I think.
And Rashida Tlaib's right down the street from us, right? Isn't she Dearborn?
Oh, is she? I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah, and
Let's start with her then, but go ahead.
I think she, and maybe more, I know AOC's election was a huge upset, like an incumbent of several terms.
Well, who is she?
But
right?
I think one or more of them ran unopposed.
It was the Montana.
Was it? I think Rashida Tlaib may have run. We'll need to fact check this. May have run unopposed, which is fine. But
Did she run unopposed?
Did she run? Let's ask the 8 Paul.
Without a doubt.
Really?
It says, yeah.
Wow.
So there you go.
There
you
you
have your
go.
answer. That's. I think that's the first time we've done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually asked it. Okay. Thanks.
Again,
April.
which is fine, but it doesn't.
Right. It doesn't indicate
speak-
merit. Right.
Right. It doesn't. Right. It doesn't speak to qualifications, and
Correct. Yeah.
you know,
I don't know that.
she filled out the application. Nobody else did. She earned it, but it doesn't speak to specific qualifications or.
And I don't even know that a normal election speaks to specific qualifications other than likability. Most times, most cases.
Well, Trump won with by just one by one picking off his opponents, right?
Expertly. Yeah.
like it was a freaking real time, real life reality show, right? What did he have? Boring Ted, or what was Jeb Bush?
Low energy Jeb, right?
Was that what it was?
Yeah. And then there was Ted
Then-
Cruz was the sea monster, and his dad shot
No,
JFK.
it was Lion Ted.
Oh yeah, Lion Ted. No, he had a bunch of different ones, I think. Well,
But there were main ones, Lion
right,
Ted,
primarily.
and then didn't one of them have small hands like Marco Rubio?
I thought
Little Marco.
I thought.
or-
Oh yeah, little Marco. But I thought Marco Rubio told him that he had small hands, and he goes, "There's no problem here, believe me." He's like talking about his dick on live TV.
Really? He
He
made.
said, "Some of us think that, or I think that Mr. Trump has small hands, or whatever." And you know what that implies about his other attributes, or whatever. And he goes, "Look at me. Here are my hands, fine hands, and there's no problems elsewhere. Believe me."
Great.
Yeah, it's like that's a fair
But
point.
he
That
came,
goes
he
in your
came up with
direction.
nicknames and
Yeah.
just one by one, just like tipped them over like toy soldiers.
So beautiful. I watch sometimes compilations of him just like ripping into people to like cheer me up. Honestly, makes me happy.
Okay. It was amusing.
I should say that.
I would be amused and entertained. I wouldn't say it would make me happy. But anyway, so back up. Let's get back to
All right,
the subject
geez.
at hand.
Gosh.
So we got the squad.
Right. We're tangent balling right now. Rashida Tlaib. The thing that I sent you, I'm sure there's other stuff, but the particular one that I sent you was an article about $20 federal minimum wage.
I read that.
That was appalling to me. I was like, who's even... It's
Yeah.
never good enough, right?
Yeah, that right. Well, so I don't even know if they realize it, but right, there's the whole argument of a living wage, whatever that may be, and I don't even know how I feel about minimum wage. You know, it.
Like you can argue the economic side of it, right? And I can argue with you, or we could discuss it together.
What's a false wage? I mean, the market should set wages everywhere.
Right. Yeah. And my favorite way it's ever been explained is Milton Friedman saying they're not hiring that kid who's not worth $8 because they have to pay him $8. But they're not going to hire someone who's worth $4 to work for $8 an hour because the government tells them they have to. It makes a lot of sense to me. They're stopping people
Back
from
up on
getting
that?
jobs. Milton Friedman explained to me at a young age through YouTube that the minimum wage disincentivizes McDonald's from hiring, high school kids or high school grads, whatever, with no prospect, because they don't want to pay them $8 an hour because the work they do isn't always worth $8 an hour, and they'd be willing to hire that guy if he said, "Hey, I'll work for $4 an hour or free,"
Because he's, say, just making this up, but a hypothetical example, young kid never had a job before. You're going to tell him sweep up. Half the time he's going to stop sweeping, stand around, stare at the ceiling.
or just be a drain on general, even
Yeah.
human resources. Yeah,
Right. Never had a job, doesn't have a work ethic,
Right.
doesn't get it yet. But at $4,
Yeah.
he'll be half as productive as an $8 person, and I'll give the kid a break. And
which is market value, and he learns something. Yeah, and then he can get the $8 an hour job next time.
and that's the market.
Right.
He's going to be half as productive as somebody I could get for $8. Yeah, I'll hire him.
Exactly, and it's just an artificial price floor, and yeah,
It
I
is.
said, right.
It,
Anyway.
yeah, I mean, you could make a humanistic argument for a living wage or some reasonable minimum wage, and as long as it's not crazy. But like you said, if you put it at $20 an hour, so that's a $40,000 a year at a full time. That's an employee at $40,000 a year. One, does the position merit the wage? 2, can the individual be productive enough to warrant the wage? Those are the two biggies,
Yeah.
right? So if you're Starbucks and you're selling coffee for, $6 a pop, even though it's overpriced, you can't have, I'll go on a tangent after this, but you can't have a bunch of people making six figures behind the counter.
No.
You're serving coffee.
It's not worth that.
Yeah. Otherwise, coffee's going to be $15 a cup rather than $6.
Right. And it's like, oh, yeah, but that's fine because then the cashier from the other store will be able to buy it with his $20 an hour. It's like,
right. Then the entire economy reacts, and then you get inflation.
Right.
And then in the long run, or even the medium run, it becomes a zero-sum game.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what'll happen inevitably because everybody's a millionaire. But Mountain Dew at the store is going to cost a lot more than $2, right? It's just whatever. It seems like the most impossible thing to explain to anybody.
So my tangent was, this is totally the flip side of that. There is a conservative radio station broadcast out of Arizona I used to listen to over the internet that had Dennis Prager.
Yeah.
Who's a good guy. He's a good man. And that's why I liked listening to him. He's a kind guy. He's a compassionate, conservative guy. And he had another guy, and it's interesting because they're both Jewish, which I think there's a compassion gene there, maybe culturally.
Maybe.
That like Hannity and others don't have.
I'd agree.
Another guy, Michael Medved. And they were both good, in terms of Republicans and conservatives, more central-minded than just some of the other pukes that I can't stand. And what the hell was the point?
The flip side.
Oh, the guy who preceded, or maybe came right after Michael Medved, he kept going on. I mean, time after time, it would come up, seemed like once a week. Maybe it was less, that if you've got your shit together and you work at it, everybody should be a millionaire by the time you're 30. Now, what business doesn't require the labor of other people? So let's say you say, my goal is to have a restaurant chain. And
fully automated restaurant chain.
Right. There's a math problem here that I wanted to call into this guy.
Sorry.
So I want to own restaurants, or fuck Amazon.
Yeah.
Right. So Amazon relies on people to sort and fill boxes in their fulfillment center. They have people who take the orders, do paperwork. They rely on UPS.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to call the guy and say, so everybody should be a millionaire by the time you're 30. So
right.
Somebody who packs a box, somebody who works for UPS and drives and delivers a truck, they all fucked up if they're not making $1 million. And you don't qualify this statement. So should UPS drivers maybe be making $1 million?
Right. My first thought was,
and then my $10 box of underwear is fucking $1,000.
That's exactly what I meant about the Mountain Dew. Right. It's like, the thing is with that statement, he's not necessarily precluding the hypothetical that everybody's a success. So maybe there are those people that fucked up and those guys pushed the carts. He
never qualified it.
Right,
he never made it a worthwhile comment.
Yeah. So, yeah, it
was just this vague, broad statement that
you should be a millionaire by the time you're 30. Okay, thanks. Emotional sport guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there's the Michael Malice argument, though, that I'm fond of, which is he's in favor of Fight for 15, ironically, because he says he hates cashiers. Their only job is to introduce problems to the equation, and he just wants it all to be kiosks. And so once the minimum wage is too high to warrant, a human laborer, they're just going to be replaced by machines.
Did he give specific examples?
Several times, yeah.
What?
He talked about people at McDonald's messing up. I was like, I don't want a fucking cheeseburger. I want a double cheeseburger. I want a McDonald's. It's like his big thing is people cause problems. So it's like I, as a consumer, would be happy to support that $15 minimum wage, knowing that my future customer service experience will be enlightened or improved.
So he wants to price people out to automation, or technology.
He's just, and he, as a joke, he's supporting this because that's what he thinks.
He doesn't actually support it.
Right. It's just a joke, but that is a good way to think about it. It's like, yeah, because all these people that you're fighting for are going to lose their fucking jobs. And, kiosks will replace you like they already do at Panera and shit. Panera.
We got somebody who's trying to be a guest on the show. Come on, you got to help me, buddy. Come on. Come on.
Give it a good heave-ho. Come on. Okay, we got him. Intervention. There he is.
Here's Ricky.
You made it up there.
There he is. Say hi to the camera.
Struggling with the T-Rex arms.
Right.
You in there, right?
All right.
Ricky. Yeah, look at that. There you go.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
Budding internet star.
Yeah. What do you think about artificial price floors? Would you like another second to answer that?
Wait. So back to Michael Malice.
Yeah. Sorry if I'm not articulating it well enough.
So he wasn't saying, let's overpay people so there's incentive to do away with them with more efficient means.
Correct. He's saying, I don't like cashiers. I'm anticipating the change that would occur regarding cashiers and their existence with this implementation of the $15 minimum wage. I'm going to use this political system, this law thing, to my advantage in my personal endeavors. The joke is that that's would be stupid, right? And immoral, because you're like hoping people to lose their jobs. But the reality is pointing at the...
Yeah, but is he thinking that the artificially high wage is going to...
Oh yes, that's the
drive
implied...
them out of the market?
Correct. I'm sorry. Yeah,
okay.
That's what's implied.
Yeah.
Sorry,
okay.
Yeah.
Lucy's jealous. We got 2 dogs that want to be on the internet
we have
tonight.
2 laps, Lucy.
Yeah, she's gonna want mine.
I don't have the same demand.
Well, Ricky will take anybody. Ricky's kind of a whore.
Yeah, but anyway, I saw that they just passed that. They won that vote in the House, right, about $15 minimum wage. I don't know if it went through the Senate. I didn't see that. I think it would have been big news if it did, but so it just went through the House. They passed it, and she's already saying now we need to call for $20 minimum wage.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyway, so let's back up and get to. Did you have kind of a core position on these 4?
I would say I'm intrigued and hopeful about future fuck ups, but right now I'm just kind of testing the waters. I think I know where I stand on AOC. We've discussed that enough, and she's kind of the head of that snake, but. The other 3, like Ayanna Pressley, I have no fucking idea who she is. And then the Rashida Tlaib, I only know about her from that, the thing where she said, what'd she say? She was cursing, talking about Trump. We're going to fucking impeach him or something. Or we're going to impeach that fucker or something like that, right?
Yeah, that was a couple months ago maybe.
Yeah, and then this $20 minimum wage thing. And then the Ayanna here, or the Ilhan Omar, that I don't really want to speculate on that, but... That's a scandal going on.
Yeah, and they're all 30-ish, right?
I would imagine, yeah. And they're all women of color, right?
Yeah, that's fine. My thing with the age gets back to conversations you and I have had not on the air, which is so AOC. And there's nothing wrong with earning an honest wage as a barista or whatever other jobs she had. But what's wrong with her and her skill set is it does not parlay into going to Washington and understanding how to reshape a political system that's responsible for 330 million people in some way, shape, or form, and that has absolute global implications on political affairs, economic affairs, and tons of things I'm not even thinking about.
Civil liberties, even, right? You can just say, yeah.
Yeah, so
freedoms.
inside the borders and outside the borders. So, yeah, you get there, and you have, I don't know if delusions of grandeur is the right phrase, but for lack of a better way to put it, and you're gonna blow up the system, and people love giving her a mic because it's romantic,
Because
right?
it's AOC. Yeah, she's the young hot thing.
And it's very, very dangerous, I think.
I agree. Which is
Go there, listen, learn, and be careful of, I mean, basically, everybody down there's a loaded gun.
in Washington, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So understand that you're a loaded gun, and try to have the wisdom to not carelessly point yourself at something.
Or everything, right?
Yeah.
That's what seems to be going on. It's just like, well, what are we doing? Bank robbers not keen on range rules, but
Yeah. Did I tell you after we finished last week about, and I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the podcast, AOC's kind of diatribe on how you can be funded by big companies, how that can parlay into getting elected, how they can parlay into potentially, her example was having a tight relationship with a corporation, potentially being privy to insider information and getting rich as a result of it. Did I tell you about?
I don't know if we talked specifically about that relationship, but
Well, no. She went in front of some board or tribunal or whatever it was, and she laid out. I'm sure I told you this, and I looked at it and I was like, wow, this woman has some talent. And
oh yeah,
and
we
that she
talked.
was-
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I went and looked at that on the internet after I told you about it.
Oh yeah, and the clip was from a much longer.
Yeah, so it was on the news, and it was either CNN or MSNBC because that's what I watch in the morning, and it went from probably a 5-minute. She's fumbling for some paperwork and going, so you're saying that your campaign could be funded by, and the news took her kind of going through folders and reading this and still making a very cogent point. It was still pretty freaking revealing. I mean, it was like, wow, she connected dots that painted a pretty ugly picture of how you could get into and conduct yourself in Washington that is just a perfect model of corruption. But anyway, it got edited down to where there was no fumbling, there were no stutters, pauses, to where she just was like on her game, just bam, 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 just blew these people up.
Makes her look much more intimidating or formidable, at least.
Exactly. Where she was just on it. She was just off. We're going the rifle shots, and the grenades, and just super quick, concise.
Yippee-ki-yay.
To a 5-minute. I won't call it a stumblefest because again, it was
Still made a cogent point.
absolutely. But anyway, so my issue, and she had nothing to do with that. It was the news. The news just made this into something it wasn't. And it didn't say edited for time or, it was a completely insincere presentation of the way this went down, which wasn't representative of how it did.
Yeah.
Anyway. So what else?
We could talk about Canada if you want.
No, I mean on these 4.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I'm trying to be diplomatic in what I say, but
Let's do this. Do you think Trump's tweet was necessarily racist? Overtly and explicitly racist?
I don't know. I can't speak to his intention, right? But I don't think that on its face it's a racist thing also. I think that that's like, I don't fucking know. Like some white guy in Kentucky could tell me that shit. He'd be like, go back to where you came from. And I'd be like, that's not racism, you know? It's just some guy. But that's more of a cultural thing in my eyes. That's more of a like, you're not assimilating or, you know, but that's not even what he was saying. He was saying, if you don't like it, you came here, you know, on your own will, go back to where you were. You don't need to be here. You wanted to come here. And now it's not good enough for you? I get that. That totally makes sense to me. I tried to make that point in a college course one time. I was met with a lot of opposition.
The only thing I'll say is, and I think he's stupid. And I think there are inferences made through his ignorance that get interpreted as racism. I don't know that he's not racist, but I don't think his comments are explicitly racist. I think they're interpreted to be racist. I think he's just an idiot who doesn't think about what he says. Like the comments he made about Charlottesville.
Yeah.
And he was trying to be smart and coy when he said, well, there's good people and there's bad people on every side of the, you know. I don't think he realized that he was talking about the KKK. I think he was just trying to be like, again, coy and...
Well, that was the thing with that. I think that was a little impromptu because they had already released an official statement saying we don't approve of this stuff, you know. And then they're like, that's not good enough. You need to do another one. And then the second one was when he said this stuff. I think he was careless, maybe, you know, a little bit negligent with his words, but I don't know that he meant I like Nazis.
Right.
Right.
I don't know what he did or didn't mean. I don't think he necessarily meant to say that I don't think he realized he just said there's good people in the KKK. I think he's just a fucking idiot who doesn't hear what he says. I try to hear what I say before it comes out of my mouth to make sure it's a good thing.
I'm not always
I try
good
to
at
play it, hear it, and then say, is this what I want to come out of my mouth?
That's a sign of intelligence.
The what?
I said that's a sign of intelligence, one that I don't have.
Okay. I don't know. I think it's just having put your foot in your mouth maybe one too many times.
Sure, yeah.
Experience. But he doesn't have that skill nor, I think, inclination. He's just diarrhea of the mouth.
Blah, right?
Yeah.
I think he thinks about it, but whatever.
Now,
We don't have to go down the I think he's dumb, I think he's smart rabbit hole.
Well, here's
again,
one thing.
right?
Here's one thing I thought of when I was saying what I said was. Here's one problem that I just kind of had the light bulb go off, is none of these women are like Lily White. If all four of them were, he wouldn't have said that.
Well, if they weren't, obviously, if they weren't
If they weren't Lily White and didn't have, let's say you were Lily White, but you had a very thick Eastern European accent. If they were truly, you know, multi-generational Americans, they had just a plain Jane Midwestern accent. They were, you know, again, just white as white can be. He wouldn't have said that because it wouldn't have fit the bill.
Doesn't that imply forethought?
But if he saw me, he wouldn't say,
Go back to
where he came from. Because...
Went to Farmington Hills, Michigan, right?
Yeah, 150 years ago, there were white people and black people, right? So there were like slaves
and not slaves.
and non-slaves, right? I don't think...
No, I get that.
I think you would struggle to find somebody who was Middle Eastern or Indian or...
At the beginning there were, because this was a new port, you know? It's like...
Yeah, but if you just plopped down in the South or the Midwest, you know, settled areas.
Okay, sure.
I mean, if you went to New York, ports of entry in New York where migrants were coming in, but they kind of hung in their neighborhoods, right?
Right.
If you just went to middle America at that time, if that even existed, let's presume it did. I think you see white and you see black.
I'd say that that's actually fair. But I don't know
So I can see where you'd immediately go to that was a racist comment, because he wouldn't have said that to somebody who was white.
Unless they're, right. Most cases, I would say correct. But the only thing
And
that
if he
warranted
meant,
that to
and if
me.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. The only thing that warranted that statement to me is that she literally is from Somalia. It's not like she's,
Yeah, but weren't the other three like second, third generation?
I don't know about Rashida Tlaib. She strikes me as someone who could have been FOB, but I don't know.
I'm pretty sure the other three were born.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. But he was
that's
specifically
him- that's
talking
him
about
being
her
an
in her
idiot.
comment. Yeah, I guess.
What are you doing, man?
He's like, hug me. All this talk about what's racist and what's not is really making me sleepy. Yeah, and I don't know that it's even fair to that's like it's a logical fallacy to appeal to his intention or whatever it is, appeal to your subconscious. Like, I don't know what's going on in his head if he's like, I hate whatever. I just don't know if that's fair until he says something that's like, wow, that's pretty fucked up. Like,
But he's president of the United States. He should be careful with his words.
totally. But I think it's kind of his thing to not be. It's like kind of his badge, his brand. I mean,
And to me, that's embarrassing. He's an embarrassment to me.
yeah.
And I know,
At times, I will agree with that sentiment.
I know, right. I know sometimes it appeals to others, one of whom is you, because he's just not what we've had.
He's just like fucking, like you say, he's just throwing hand grenades, man, left and right. Just like lobbing bombs.
Somebody brought it up today about, well, why can't we use nuclear weapons?
Okay, well, that's obvious.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I have to.
I didn't hear him say that. But it was repeated more than once. And
Wait, by him?
yeah,
Oh shit! Fucking Trump.
yeah,
You go,
and like
man. I'm just
either
kidding.
right before or right after he took office, he said something about well, why don't we use these things?
Why not? They're just sitting right there. The guys don't even guard the stuff half the time. Right. Maybe that's like a big swinging dick thing, for his day in office. He's got to show the other guys what's up.
No, I think he had a bunch of shiny buttons in front of him. And he wanted to start pushing something. That's what I think.
What does this do? Yeah.
Right. Let's push this. No. Yeah.
Where's North
I'm in
Korea?
charge.
Where's Syria? Right.
No, he doesn't want to take out North Korea.
That's his big PR. Yeah. Yeah. Right. He's hanging on to that. Okay. Intelligence aside, he is proven capable of doing the right thing at times. Right. At least the sensible thing. I think there is some evidence of that. Maybe a drop.
Give me an example.
The Korea, I'm not going to bend to your will thing. Backing out of this deal.
Korea shot 2 missiles off, 2 short-term missiles today.
Did they really?
Yes.
Oh,
In
where?
violation of UN sanctions. I think they went into the Japan Sea of Japan or whatever.
Just a garbage can. Were they like... I don't get how...
They were short-range missiles.
They weren't nukes?
Apparently, the United States and South Korea announced that they were going to do some joint military exhibition. And the presumption is that in protest, he fired off a couple of
I
missiles.
was like, fuck you guys.
So,
Now, that guy strikes
But-
me as a guy who's just pressing buttons.
but he's still sanctioned.
Oh, okay.
Or it was still in violation of the sanctions on him from the UN.
Yeah. The story that I'd like to hear more about that I haven't seen many articles on is this whole Syria thing, like seizing ships and blowing up ships and all that stuff.
You mean, well, it's Iran that sees the British
Ukrainian
tanker.
ship. I'm sorry. Yeah, Iran. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have some beef with Great Britain and maybe one or two other European countries with regard to, I think, unique sanctions that Britain imposed on them. So, yeah, I don't know. Seizing a tanker seems like pretty serious business.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
And apparently the British Navy had just fast warships, but they couldn't get there quickly enough. Apparently they seized one, again, a British tanker weeks or months ago, and there were warships proximate enough to like head the thing off. So what they did was, did you see they had helicopters and guys went down on ropes? You know, like
Oh shit! Really, like an SAS app or something? It's
yeah,
pretty cool. Wow.
yeah. So they sent down guys to hijack the ship.
Wow. That's pretty sweet, actually. I mean,
Yeah,
sucks for whoever owns the ship. But
Yeah, I thought, wow, it's pretty high tech for Iran. I would have.
I don't know if that's fair necessarily.
No, not at all. But
Hey,
it was
guys.
my first impression. I'm like, they have helicopters,
Yeah. Right. Oh, and they have fucking ropes too.
right?
Mankind's third invention, right? I was like, wow, that's
That's the
pretty
way I
wild.
reacted, though. I'm like, that's Iran.
Wow, good for you guys. You really got this whole thing down. Yeah, nation of terror or
Well,
whatever.
right. The good for you guys part didn't really go through my
Oh.
mind, but
That was funny.
holy shit, they're actually capable of something.
No way. Wow. What if they have fire?
Do they have the wheel yet?
Yeah,
Well, they have helicopters, so
Wait, you know something interesting? I learned this in my anthropology course. Speaking of the wheel, slight tangent off of our joke tangent. Native Americans in the Americas, whatever, the natives in the Americas, at the time the British arrived, or Christopher Columbus arrived, I forget, whatever. I don't know that it matters. It might be true for both. They hadn't yet invented the wheel.
the world or the Native Americans.
Native Americans, yeah.
Huh.
To me, that was interesting.
It is.
And I heard now something else we learned also in that class was the reason they didn't have domesticated, whatever, I'll say industrial animals, whatever, is because there weren't any. They had like buffalo, no horses, and what the hell else, were on there. But
So like beasts of burden
yeah,
kind of thing.
right. Yeah. But it's like, they somehow figured that out in England. The plow for an oxen or whatever. I guess it's different, but
Maybe the way they lived didn't warrant it. I don't know.
just murdering each other all the time.
No, but I mean that's like, wasn't there like an agrarian revolution where we were like, all right, we need to start to feed people, so we need to start growing food in mass.
You mean like post Neolithic
Yeah.
era? Oh, I would imagine. I don't know. I didn't learn
So
that.
they were still very tribal, very small.
Paleolithic, right? They
smaller-
didn't need a
Right. So I don't know what they grew.
nomadic. Well, they hunted, but let's see. Now I'm speaking for all of it. Now I'm getting into a place where I don't know all the answers.
And I'm
Wanna-
presuming, I don't want to foster a stereotype, but I'm presuming that they grew corn, and maybe
Maize.
the manner by which they farmed didn't, the amount of food they needed, maybe the manner by which they farmed just didn't lend itself to that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
there's a lot of nomadic tribes. You'd think, you'd like carts would help the move. I would imagine, right? It's like, I can't carry everything where I go. I like to drive a car.
Yeah, if you think, that what they drug behind horses were those, like skins stretched across
Well, they didn't even have
sticks.
horses, is my point, before the Spanish came, right?
Yeah.
Now,
yeah,
see, here we're going
yeah.
into this area that we don't know. But that's what I learned was that they didn't have any domesticable
Yeah, you're
species.
challenging my 7th grade history.
Oh, really? Wait, you learned this in 7th grade history?
Well, these kinds of things, yeah.
Yeah, it's like they didn't have horses. until
Right,
the
I had
Spanish-
forgotten that the Spanish
Cortez, yeah.
brought horses to North America.
And then burn the boats. He was like, fuck you, we're going to kill these guys. That's motivation right there.
So wait, Cortez burned his own boats?
Wasn't that him? Yeah, Cortez. He burned all of his ships so, like, to motivate his men to, like, win the war because we're not fucking going home anyway. Hey, are you going to die here on this
Wow,
beach?
I don't remember that.
That's a huge story about him. He was, like, a fucked up dude. Like killing the Inca people, or was it the Maya? Forget. I had to do it in my project.
Huge slaughters, right?
And like like the chief's daughter or whatever, shit like that. It was messed up. But there's a different time.
Yeah, well,
And I imagine like a new frontier like that is basically carte blanche for a government to do whatever the fuck they want. It's like, we're going to go and pioneer this land, and it's a lawless land. we're gonna do whatever we have to do to like make it work, regardless of whether or not there's someone who's got a stake there already. But I thought about that the other night. I thought that would have been an interesting time to be around for.
Yeah, until somebody
colonization.
runs a sword through you and
Yeah,
skewers you.
fucking a bayonet and then shoots me with it for good measure. Yeah.
Isn't this interesting?
Lucy's trying to. What?
No, I'm looking at a bayonet having been.
Oh yeah. Oh,
How
Oh.
interesting.
that's yeah. Right. Wait, there was
I'm getting cold.
Yeah. What's this one? Yeah, 9 inches hard steel right in the gut. It's not ideal. I forget what the hell show it was, but there was a bit that it was a cartoon of some kind, or, adult cartoon, whatever. And it was like a white scientist and a black scientist, and they're like, "We just invented a fucking time machine." They're like, "Awesome! Like, let's go back and let's do it. Like, it works. Let's go back in time." And the white guy's saying all this, and then the black guy goes, "Actually, I'm all right." It's like it's no better time to be alive.
Sounds like
It's
Family Guy.
or something like that, whatever. And it's like any time other than now is not good unless you're a white guy. But which is, I'd say that's a fair point to make in that whole reparations
Oh,
argument.
for sure.
Yeah. I never feel more in touch with how fucked up all that stuff was than when I watch like movies about slavery or anything like, Glory, Django, whatever shit like that. It's like when you see the atrocities that these people are put through, there's an argument to be had.
Go back and watch Roots.
I never watched it. I watched the first 2 episodes in history class.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, it was on prime time, so I watched it through and through. I don't remember if it was on once a week or more than that, but I watched the whole thing as a kid. I don't know if it was it might be one of those things that television at that time wasn't produced in such a way that it might, as interesting and as important a story as it is, it might not keep you entertained. Like going back and watching an old movie that was your favorite when you were a kid, and you're like, I remember this moving a lot faster.
Yeah, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang sucks now.
I'm talking like,
No, I know. But
yeah. All right, I got a sneeze in me. It could take 30 seconds. It could take
you look
5
at the
minutes.
lights, right? Isn't that a thing?
Yeah, it works actually.
Oh, yeah. Not quite. There's actually a girl under the table. That's what.
It's probably Ricky.
Ricky. There we go. God bless. Gesundheit.
No, I mean giving me allergies.
Oh.
Sometimes he gives me allergies.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
Roots.
Yeah. Anyway, if you wanna,
Rewatch that.
yeah, and at the time it seemed totally brutal, and it was totally brutal. But in terms of the degree to which movies and TV largely have gotten more violent, I'm not sure it would be as dramatic as it felt then. But it was a good series. It was a good series. Did they not remake or try to remake part of it?
I thought they turned it into a movie, but I don't know.
That could be.
But I do remember like 2016, maybe around there, someone was remaking it or something.
Did you see Amistad?
No, but I've heard that that's another.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, I know the boat. I just don't know that. I've never seen the movie.
I have it on VHS if you still have a video recorder hooked up.
Somewhere. Find one. Yeah, right.
I used to every it
him
was
in a
either
punch.
Friday or Sunday. I used to go. There was a movie store in the mall,
Oh, cool.
and I'd go buy a movie.
Nice.
I had a good VHS collection.
That's heavy too. Just like the space volume tapes.
Yeah, and right.
And now I have
Now you
every
just-
video ever made ever on my phone right here.
Right. Yeah, before these high quality streaming services, which aren't that old, I have a hard drive, the hard drive you took, of
Oh
about
yeah, shit, I gotta
20,000
get that back to
songs.
you. Yeah.
I have it.
Oh, you
brought it
do?
back. Yeah.
Wait, I did? What the fuck?
Oh, maybe your dad did.
Life's a blur.
Your dad did.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We're pretty
And I
interchangeable
said,
these
Charlie's
days.
coming over. He can just bring it in 2 days. He's like, no, it's on my list. I got to check
Oh,
the
okay.
box.
Yeah, see.
All
there you
right,
go.
whatever.
Yeah. Day after day. Yeah.
It's what day?
I said day after day.
Oh,
Yeah. Keep his notes the grindstone, but yeah.
keep that ear to the grindstone.
Sorry, ear to
Where's
the
that from?
grindstone. Some
Goodwill Hunting.
oh fuck, that's a great movie.
That is a great movie.
I watched Thunderball the other day.
What's Thunderball?
James Bond, Sean Connery.
Oh.
Yeah, because we talked about that
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
and it's worse than I thought it was, than I explained it.
The misogyny.
Oh my god, it's horrible. Yeah, it's just like he's like kissing a girl. She's like, "Please stop." He's like, "Sorry, I thought I came here to enjoy the view." Or like, "Geez, like what? You're some prude." My god.
What year
And
was
then
it made? Do you remember looking?
I can look it up in 2 seconds. It was just
it
brutal.
60s?
Something like that. Fucking let's see, Thunderball.
High
and
Plains Drifter was the Clint Eastwood movie.
65.
Did I
High
tell you
Plains
that?
Drifter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll have to watch that. Never seen that
Or
one.
not. In
Oh.
protest.
Oh right, in protest.
Either way, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
whatever. It's whatever. We've covered this ground.
Yeah. It's all very, but
And
there
that's not long ago.
What? How long?
Well, I mean,
this?
the James Bond
Yeah, what,
movie,
60
the Clint
years?
Eastwood
Yeah.
movie, not even.
55 years.
Yeah,
56
50.
years, yeah.
Well, 72.
Oh, this one was 65.
Okay.
But yeah, there is a level. There are levels to it, layers to it. So there's some what's the word, like some unspoken thing, where it's okay, and she's consenting, but it's still like on its face, it's like he just is fucking taking advantage of this person. That's very often the case in those movies.
The envelope's being pushed way too far.
Totally. And it's like, oh, it kind of makes me uncomfortable. James Bond. It's like, cool dude. It's like forcing chicks to do things they don't want to do. But it was a different time. I don't know.
Popeye and Bluto, man. You want to, like I said.
And that was a
pretty
kid's
much
show.
Every freaking episode is sexual assault.
And they're just teaching kids that this is, well, I guess they're teaching him it's a bad thing because he's the bad guy.
I guess.
Right? It's a lesson to be learned there.
I think the message taken away from kids is you can get away with it.
That's probably true.
Right.
Yeah.
9/10 of the show was him getting away with it, and then Popeye ate the spinach and beat him up.
Yeah.
That show was all kinds of bad. Sexual harassment, violence, fighting.
It's just a different time. And that's as simple as it is, but you can't ever anticipate
I guess there's some virtue in that.
in the
Popeye thing. And that the good guy
Saving
stands
the
up
girl.
for what's right and saves the girl.
there's a lesson to be learned. Like in anything, there's always a moral lesson, but especially kids shows. But I was just saying, like, you can't, as those guys who were writing this shit back then, you can't anticipate what the future is going to judge you for, because no one, how do you do that? You just can't.
Yeah. I'm not sure I want to go down this road. But there was
Right.
a movie I saw that had a rape scene in it that was very, very, very real. And I remember it made me think about that in a different way. It was Hotel New Hampshire.
I've never seen it.
It was, I guess, apparently a pretty good book. And it's just this bizarre movie about a hotel in New Hampshire. And it was Jodie Foster, and there's this guy who's after her, and ultimately it happens. And it was very real. It was kind of like that scene in Saving Private Ryan.
Oh yeah,
The way that made death real, that just made rape really, it just touched you in a way
you're
that
in
like,
it. Yeah.
yeah, and it made it very real, and like, wow, that whole movie was fucked up and left me with a bad.
Yeah, I don't like shit like that. It makes me depressed.
Did you see? Is it Train Spotting?
I think I have seen that, but I don't remember what the plot was.
What's the one with the British guy, and he's in a room, and they make him watch TV over and over? And is that Train Spotting? And whatever, some funky ass British film.
Yeah.
That at the end you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't seen it.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, that stuff is rough.
So here's a movie never to see: Dead Ringers.
Okay, check. I'll remember that.
Dead Ringers. It's Jeremy Irons. I had a job that worked late at parking cars or waiting tables, and it was on cable, like HBO or something, late, 2, 3 in the morning. And he plays his own twin brother. Excuse me. I won't get into it. But so I watched it alone, and it was totally creepy.
Oh. Yeah.
And this guy was a doctor, like a female doctor, and it was just fucked up. So we're up north. I was dating a girl who lived.
Oh wait, I know this story.
Lived in Boyne City, yeah, and I'm like, don't rent this movie. And they rented. I'm like, don't watch this movie. And
Like,
every girl who was with the guy is like either like got his arms wrapped around her, like hiding behind him. I remember a couple girls had these big pillows, and they're all like scrunched up and holding the pillow. I'm like, and they're like, why did we watch that? I'm like,
I don't know. Why
really?
did you watch it? Yeah.
Like I warned you guys.
I fucking told you.
And who the fuck thinks of this stuff? Some of these movies, who thinks it and who wants to make it?
I think there's something with artists. Like, I'm not going to say that that's art, but I won't shame these guys. But I'm just saying, like, even in like a fucking humanities class, you take this shit. Like, guys like Raphael and Vincent van Gogh, and they're all fucked in the head in some kind of a way that made them like that. But they're
Well,
also great artists. And
your guy, his movies are pretty violent. Quentin Tarantino.
oh yeah, he's fucked in the head too. I won't even deny that. You've ever seen an interview with him? He gets all defensive over nothing.
Really?
Yeah. If you ever see this Quentin Tarantino, I still love you. But yeah, it's like he's got that thing where it's like delusions of grandeur, like you said. You know, he's like, I'm fucking hubris, like all better than God. Chris doesn't have an opinion.
No, I don't know what to say. There's
Yeah.
just a lot of fucked up out there.
Sorry. Yeah. Well,
What do you say about it?
I'm just saying maybe that the arts are connected through that in some form. Maybe there's accessing some part of your brain that brings that out in you.
Yeah, a lot of this fucked up stuff certainly is creative. There's no doubt about that. I mean, a lot of what is creative is fucked up. Maybe not necessarily a lot of it in a bad way, and a lot of it not in a bad way. I guess that's kind of how you get there, because you think differently than everybody else.
Which is kind of a good sign about real life, because if real life was that bad, people wouldn't have to be making the shit up.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, the one thing about certain things, like that movie Hotel New Hampshire, was it opened up a part of my mind that showed me, an ugliness it painted a picture that made it very, very real.
Spreading awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that stuff bothers me. Not because I don't want the message, but because it's like, I don't need to feel like this. I had a friend in high school who was also, he lives around here. He always says, why do they make sad movies or like horror movies? He's like, all I want to do is like watch happy movies and funny movies. And I'm like, that's a great philosophy. Just only watch good stuff that makes you feel good.
Well, part of the theory is if you go watch a sad movie, like the Divine Comedies are actually sad, right?
Tragedy, yeah.
So you watch a sad movie and it makes you feel like, so you watch tragedy and sadness and suffering, and then you actually ultimately feel like, wow, my life isn't so bad. That's kind of the theory behind it. I don't know.
I guess.
I'll tell you what, creepy movies, super scary movies, don't like them.
No, neither do I.
Super sad movies, I don't like. It takes me, I don't say, I leave with this feeling of sadness, and it doesn't go away in 30 seconds. Like, wow, that was awful.
What are we having for dinner? Yeah.
I feel better about me now, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's
Right, I'm not like that either.
hey,
Yeah.
wow, there's a really shitty,
Yeah, oh, thank God that guy's life is more
Demonstration life.
fucked up than mine is.
right.
I don't think like that. And you're right, you don't either.
I think Shakespeare espoused that thought, or whatever.
Oh, I don't know much about him, but
Did you take Shakespeare in high school or college?
no, but it was part of the curriculum regardless. Like Midsummer's Night Eve, is that what it's called?
Midsummer's Night Dream.
Yeah,
Summer's
Midsummer's
Night-
Night Dream, Night Eve, Night Dream, whatever the fuck.
He
it
wrote a
was.
lot of plays.
Yeah, all that's I played Lennox in Hamlet once, or was that Oedipus Rex? I'm trying to remember.
Don't remember.
Doesn't matter. I don't know anything about him.
That I told you the story. That was a class that made me start drinking coffee, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're like, I need to fucking.
Or was it British Lit? Shakespeare and British Lit, they just didn't do it for me.
You're like, no, I don't get
I
it.
couldn't stay awake. I would get in trouble.
Yeah, I don't care about shit like that.
So I started drinking coffee.
I used to fall asleep in Mrs. Nepa's bio class. It's like, this could fucking.
Well, there was like the prescribed, quote unquote college prep curriculum. It wasn't. It was highly unofficial.
Oh,
But you took Shakespeare. You took British literature. I don't know what else you took.
I
Those
didn't-
were two of my probably most unfavorite college or high school classes.
yeah. I was always good at English. I just couldn't ever enjoy the classes so much. There's a few teachers that made me like it, but I never so much was into the like. Let me open this gate to my fucking mind, like by writing, like let me read my words.
Yeah, there were a couple things, dude. What? He has ants in his
He's like,
pants.
"Brr."
Heart of Darkness. Remember that?
Mm-mm. Oh wait, was it
Colonel Kurtz. Was he a colonel?
was it a book?
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't know it.
And it's what Apocalypse Now was based off of.
Oh well, I've seen Apocalypse Now.
So, it was this. It took place in like the 19th century, and it was the same thing. It was just like this poet, whatever guy, and he went into this village and lost his mind, and committed atrocities with the native people, and this like steamer ship went up the river. It's Apocalypse Now.
That was a
100 years earlier.
very disturbing movie to me. That I think I saw it at too young of an age, but that was like, this is really, really creepy.
I saw at 12 years old a movie named Deer Hunter.
Yeah, Deer Hunter. Yeah.
That was fucked up, especially the ending. Did you see that?
No, but I know the basic premise. Yeah.
That was fucked up. It ended. Do you know how it ended? So this one guy was left behind, and I think it was Vietnam. Pretty sure it was Vietnam. And he was he had like, it was, if not weeks and weeks, months and months, he was part of this. They played suicide. Or played Russian roulette, rather.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they would bet on the guys.
Oh.
And this guy had made it and made it and made it, and the thinking was, he's just never going to die. So they would bet,
Until you do.
right? So they put a bullet in the chamber, spin the thing, set it down. Then the one guy would do it, and they'd put another bullet in, and the next guy does it.
2 bullets.
So they finally find the guy, and one of his, like, I don't know if it was before the War Buddies or in the War Buddies, but they're like best friends. Hi, Lucy. Hi, Lucy. You good girl?
Licking your chops.
Yeah, she's got a look on her face. So he's like, we got to get you out of here. We got to get you out of here. And he's like, one last shot. Boom, he blows his brains out. And that's and the movie basically ends. And I'm like, and then I got to go to bed.
Like what?
12. It was brutal. It was, I can feel what I felt then right now. I haven't thought about that movie in 40 years.
Best part of that story was, and then I got to go to bed. It's like it just sums up. You're like, fucking terrific. Why did I watch that?
Right.
Why did I have to fucking see that? The movie Anaconda did that to me because I watched it about the same age, 11 years old maybe.
I don't know what that is.
There's this big ass snake that eats people, and there's like one particular scene where the snake is like swallowing this fucking guy whole. They show the whole thing, and he's like, then later you see his body like inside the snake's belly digesting it. And I was like, I don't need to see this. This is gross. And they like kill the snake and cut him open and pull the guy out. It's all fucked up. Not meant for. I guess that's why they say PG-13, right?
I watched a snake eat a toad when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
It left an impression.
Oh, something about that like hopelessness for the toad.
It was brutal. It was brutal. I was watching, just one of a brutal thing in nature. Shit dies.
I think shit has to die, right? It's like what's brutal about nature.
Yeah, nothing lives forever.
Yeah.
Oh, I was listening to a podcast, two evolutionary biologists. Here's something really, really, really interesting. So they're like, so why don't 5, 10-year-old kids, why is cancer in children and why are diseases in older people more prevalent? And it's really interesting. There's just like math and logic behind this. At 5 years old, at 10 years old, even, into early teens, you don't procreate. So the gene or the a genetic predisposition, say, for cancer in a 5-year-old, it gets
Isn't-
bred out because 5-year-olds don't procreate. So that gene, so the kids who have that gene die.
Oh,
So
before
they don't live to carry the gene
Right.
on
Yeah.
to pass it on to the next generation.
Right. Oh, that's very
And
interesting.
according to
yeah.
these guys, scientifically, that's one of the reasons older people get sick.
It's because you never
Because Darwinism,
you already
because
finished your job, right?
the things that kill you when you're 60 get passed on when you reproduce when you're 25.
Yeah. That's
Isn't that
interesting.
interesting?
Yeah. Well, it makes sense though. That's evolution at work, right? You know, fucking nature's job is to kill you before you procreate. If it's capable of doing that. But,
Right.
yeah.
But it's so simple. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm surprised that I'm not sure I ever would have thought enough about that to think of it on my own, but that you never heard that before. I mean,
Right.
it's a pretty simple concept.
Right, it is, and it's just like that's what I love about. God, that's why I love so much about science. It's like, I should say the unknown, just in general, like ocean, space, whatever, anything that we don't know about, new frontiers, is like you can discover stuff, and it seems to all make sense. You know, it's like that. That makes sense. Like we didn't know that before, but this is the way that it is, and I get that. That makes sense. That works like that.
And-
There's a logic to like unknown shit.
And it's such a simple concept.
Right.
Like, and you learn all these simple things that other people discovered, but you just didn't think of them on your own. That's where I get pissed out. I'm like, why didn't I think? I could have thought of that.
You're like,
Just
it's
makes-
fucking, it's just dots. Yeah, you're like, I get that. It's all laid out for me already.
Yeah, it's really simple.
Yeah. Like the one thing I liked about was deep sea creatures. That guy, Malice, that I like he's like, here's my theory on why they're all so fucking ugly and hideous, like terrifying to look at, is because there's no sunlight down there. And up where there's sunlight and we, rely on vision, mating also is like, your looks, your physical looks are play a factor in having kids. But down there it doesn't fucking matter. So you can be whatever.
Yeah, but you wouldn't. You.
Or he specifically cited
Yeah, but there's
mathematical
still-
symmetries, but
Yeah, but there would still be random at work, where I would think you would have. It wouldn't preclude you from being attractive. It just wouldn't weed out being ugly.
which apparently is enough. Which is his point. It's like it doesn't even matter. So that's why nature didn't select it out early on.
Yeah, but why wouldn't attractive creatures be down there too? It would be random, wouldn't it?
Unless you're more frail, the prettier you are. I don't know. That's a good point, though. It would be an even distribution.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
Yeah.
Right? Ugly wouldn't get weeded out, nor would attractive, as
Attractive,
long as that's a suitable environment for them.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, yeah, I guess.
That presumes that ugly and attractive are not subjective, which is another conversation.
Which is the mathematical thing. Right. It's the symmetry. Yeah.
And I would argue it's not subjective.
I tend to agree with.
I mean, look at nature.
Yeah.
People. I mean, there are certain people that I think, if you take,
It's the hot or not test.
yeah,
You have thousands and thousands of people voting on what this person is, and then by the
Right.
time you go through it, you get within 0.2 of whatever everyone else said.
I don't know who a good hottie young example is, but like George Clooney, more my generation, when he was in his prime, and even now, I don't ever remember somebody saying that guy's unattractive.
Fuck
Right?
that guy.
Somewhere between, yeah, he's okay, or yeah, he's definitely okay to super hot. Same with women.
I never felt that he was that attractive. Got to be
As a
honest.
man, really?
Yeah, I thought that the best he ever looked that I've ever seen him on screen was in From Dusk Till Dawn.
I don't know. I don't remember.
That was whatever. Quentin Tarantino played his brother. There's zombies.
It's funny
Stated like a
if you
fucking
see him
place.
back in when he was in Roseanne, he's just a skinny, average-looking guy. He aged well.
Wow, really?
He got the, the
Touch of gray.
steely jaw. and
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shit.
He aged well.
Yeah.
So who's your hot guy?
Me? No. Hot guy. Young guy.
Any guy.
Sean Connery. Rewatching that movie. Sean Connery at that age
At his
is
age.
a goddamn handsome guy. That's a freaking good looking dude.
You know who was a good looking, now that you're saying in his day, who was a really good looking guy was Robert Redford.
I'm trying to picture him. I know what he looks like now. I just don't know what he used to look like.
He was a good looking guy. Brad Pitt. He doesn't look as good as he did when he was younger. He was very pretty when he was younger.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally right. Yeah, and Tom Cruise, I guess you could say, but he's like short, so it's like
He's got like a kind of a big humpy nose if you
oh
get the right profile.
well, yeah,
But yeah, he's all right looking guy.
he's a little short. That's funny. That like, if you heard that Trench story, they like had like whatever girl, his supporting actress, like co-leading actress, like had her walking in a trench next to him to make him look like taller.
Shut up.
This is just something that I've heard, but no. And now there's also that picture of Robert De Niro wearing like fucking 4-inch lifts on,
Why is he like
behind the
5'8",
scenes,
5'9" or something?
whatever it is. Maybe they just wanted him to look taller for that
That is
particular
so
part,
funny.
but it was like that.
Well, filming angles have a lot to do with it too.
Yeah.
My understanding is Sylvester Stallone, he's like 5'8".
That's a
That
weird guy.
he's an odd guy.
Yeah.
He's a smart guy, but he's an odd guy.
Adrian.
Um,
I've never seen Rocky. I don't even know.
You haven't?
Nope. Fuck that. I'm
Oh my
not
gosh.
gonna watch it.
Really?
I don't want to. Yes.
Why?
Because it's about sports. I'll pass. Sorry.
So it's like
I
it's
kind of have
banned.
Yeah, I kind of have a principle.
Well, I gotta respect that. Did I ever tell you I have and nobody's on it right now, but have had a banned list.
Yeah, you told me.
So I gotta respect that.
Yeah, it's just like fucking. I can watch like people watch sports all the time. Just because there's a movie about like some other facet of sports doesn't really interest me. I'm more into like the concept, like blowing my mind type shit.
So is the fact that when college football season rolls around, I turn on the TV and I start watching Sports Center and college football game day at about 10:30 in the morning. I watch college football starting at 10:30. And even if whether Michigan's playing at home or not, I watch football until the time I leave. I go to the game, I come home, or if they're on the road, I watch the game. Then I watch college football until I fall asleep in front of the television. I go in, get ready for bed, and fall asleep to college football on the television.
Is that what?
Pardon me?
You said is that I do
Pathetic?
this? No, not pathetic. What the fuck? It's just that's what you do with your time. It's fine. I just have my own principles and my own interests.
Yeah, but you won't even watch Rocky, and it's. I mean, the amount of time that they're actually in the ring boxing is
I know that,
not
but it's
most
like
of the movie.
that is even more why I don't watch that stuff because it's like this dude's personal motivations revolve around his sporting career or his sporting ability, and it's like all this guy's motivations, this main character that I'm supposed to be in favor of as a protagonist, I don't give a shit about what he cares about. It's like I don't fucking care about boxing. It's like I don't care about whatever if this guy catches a football. I don't know why he cares about it so much. That's what I feel.
So
and I
you
know
have
it's
no
fictional,
appreciation
but
for any physical endeavor?
no, I don't. I wouldn't say that. I just don't find it interesting, or there's stuff out there that's more worthy of my attention. I'll say.
Huh.
Not as a leisure activity though. I find no issue with it at all. As a leisure thing, it's totally cool. You can be interested in whatever you want.
So in terms of taking it seriously as a spectator,
I have a slight aversion to that. Yeah. Just
That's
as an
interesting.
individual, not as a member of society. I don't give a shit. I understand that everyone likes their own thing. I'm not
so
gonna.
going out and throwing around the football, that's something that might appeal to you.
Oh, totally. I like
but
doing
going
that
and
stuff.
watching people compete and being wrapped up in it as a zombie in a seat is not
I
your
feel
thing.
like a zombie in a seat. I won't say that you guys are because I know you. You're not. That's not what your life is about. But it's like I feel like I'm just part of this, mess. And I don't like that. It's almost like I feel like if I ever joined the military, I'd be just one of the guys who got killed on accident. It's like that's how I feel in a crowd of people. I'm like, fuck, why am I?
That is funny.
You know what I mean, though? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's kind of pathetic.
Yeah, I know, but that's how I feel. I'm like, I'll just do my own thing. I'll get out while I can. Stay out.
I
while
won't
can.
even make it out of training. I'll wind up being a dead guy in an accident.
It'll be like, this is
or
the guy
friendly
that,
fire. If
yeah,
you do
he
make it to battle.
stood up at base camp when we were using live ammunition or some shit. It's like, this guy. What movie was that? That was really sad. Was that?
There was
enough-
where they
with
were
enough
shooting
men?
rounds over like
Yeah, it
the
was a-
barbed wire, and somebody freaked out and stood up in
Yeah,
the bullet fire.
is that the Mel Gibson Vietnam movie?
I don't remember, but I know
anyway.
what you're talking
Yeah,
about, and
that
I
had a
think that's
lasting
based on
effect
something
on
that
me.
actually happened.
Yeah. Well, there was that fucking who was that NFL guy, that football player who joined up
Oh, Pat,
and he died.
Yeah, Pat. Yeah, he enlisted,
To me, that's like,
and I think he died of friendly fire, didn't he?
yeah. That's why that was my dot. Those were my connections. But to me, that's like,
Fuck, what's his name?
horribly sad.
Yeah, it is. Well, it is from a certain standpoint.
Right.
The thing is, he's a story. Things like that bother me are because he's a story. Lots of people die. In his life, he's got a story because he was an NFL player. His life is no more valuable than the guy who
Right. I
died.
just so happen to know his story. Yeah.
Right, a fraction of a second performer after him or
Yeah.
somewhere else at a different time. That's kind of like my thing with 30,000 people a day or a year dying in car crashes. About 100 people a day, right?
That's
If there's
around the world.
If it's not in flames, then their
The life is worth less.
tragedy
supposedly, yeah.
their tragedy has no story.
I guess we could come up with a new economic term for that. Death value. What's your death value score?
In terms of the news,
Yeah, like attention. How many eyes are drawn to you?
that's a thing, man. There's no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, even like old
That's
presidents.
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln getting assassinated. Oh my gosh. Have I ever told you occasionally I will go into like character
Wait, what?
and a couple of times
As Abraham Lincoln?
no, just as like occasionally I'll do like a southern redneck.
Yeah.
I did a southern redneck who was really into
Fucking-
Trump, and these are fucking hilarious. And a couple times I've done them. Like one time I did it in a bar, and I had like 3 or 4 people around me cracking up, like belly
Yeah.
laughing for 5 straight minutes. So I did a thing. I don't know why I did this the other morning, and I recorded some of it on my phone. I'm like, this is pretty good. I need to capture this shit because it would be good stand-up stuff.
We're getting a little pop up there. Just says, I turned off your live stream. Fuck you.
They wanted to.
Oh.
Gotta stay away from that.
I'm sorry. Now I totally forgot where you were. We're talking about.
Oh,
Oh, your character.
Lincoln,
Yeah.
Somehow.
Oh.
Oh, it was because you brought up something last week that made me think of. Have you been to the Henry Ford Museum?
Twice, I think.
Have you seen the chair that Lincoln was shot in?
Yeah, with a little bit of cranberry juice there.
Did you get a vibe off it?
No, but I often do from shit like that.
I
Like-
I got a strong vibe off that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was intense. But anyway, so I thought of that and I was thinking about it the next morning and I was like, I went into character about a conspiracy theory and how Abraham Lincoln got shot at Ford's Theater. So Ford shot him at his own theater? Henry Ford shot Abraham Lincoln?
What the fuck?
And then I went down this rabbit hole of, because he actually had invented the car. And Henry Ford wanted to steal the idea of the car in the assembly line.
So you.
So wait, Abraham Lincoln invented the assembly line? And it went on for about 5, and I just kept developing this, and it was in John Wilkes Booth. Wait, he was shot in a phone booth in Henry Ford's theater? Were there even phones back then? Or was the phone booth invented first, so they had to invent the phone? So wait, did Henry Ford somehow commercialize the phone? And I just kept going and going and going. And I always play like this ignorant guy who's like, yeah, that makes sense. So Henry Ford wanted the assembly line. Abraham Lincoln did it. He built Ford Theater, got him in there to see a play, and shot the guy. Then there was a phone booth.
It's like drunk history.
It's beyond drunk, and it was some pretty funny stuff.
I love doing impressions. I think. Well, I don't do characters. I just like mimic people.
Well,
but yeah.
I like going into like these ignorant, bizarre, totally misinterpretation. I did one at a football game, and as the wave was going around, it went through like the student section, then the drunk section, and then the visitor section, and I went through, and I'm with probably a fraternity or whatever, and there was this couple, like an adult, older couple at the time, so they're probably in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and they had been listening to him, and then they turn around at like the end of it, and there's tears like in their eyes. They had been listening to this, like, just, who is it? Like,
What
we got
the
a fucking,
fuck
there's
is
a
that?
stand-up show
Yeah.
going on behind us. Anyway, I should record all those and keep them. Some of them are pretty damn funny.
That stuff can
so
be
when
magic.
When
yeah.
Trump got elected, I went into character and did like a redneck and Trump, and it was pretty good. It's in my phone somewhere.
There's this show that I like to watch sometimes. Sometimes it's a bit much, but I'll have to give you my information to watch it. It's like a show about that. Like all they do is like they just fucking make characters, and they have like a character named Flyover Phil, and he like wears a MAGA hat, and he's like, I'm fucking my sister cousin. They're like, that's your cousin too, Phil. And he's like, no, it ain't. It's my sister's cousin. Like shit like that, and it's just amazing. It's like fucking that comedy is good, but they just do it in a rough way. Compound Media.
What's it
it's
on?
called In Hot Water on Compound Media.
Okay, that's exactly like one of something. Yeah,
But they
it's
are
my sister's cousin. She ain't got nothing to do with me.
right. That's what I mean. Yeah, it's like what I don't. What are you like? Complete. Like blatantly. Like I'm just oblivious of the situation. And
Yeah.
I love that. Or they like have Harambe Jenkins or something like that. Whatever his name is, but it's like supposed to be a black guy, and they come in. It's incredibly offensive. Disavow. As a dude dressed up in a gorilla costume.
In a girl costume.
A gorilla costume.
Oh,
Yeah, because like Harambe got shot, and it was like in honor of.
I don't
whatever.
know.
Never mind. That was a pop culture thing for the youth. Because a gorilla got killed. Yeah.
Have you ever
That is
seen
new.
any of the In Living Color reruns?
No.
It was the Wayans brothers and Damon Wayans, Keenan Ivory Wayans, who's he's a more serious actor now. He was hilarious. Shit. The Last Boy Scout. Who was in that? It was Bruce Willis and
I don't know that either.
oh, that's a good movie. You should see that. Last Boy Scout. What are you doing, man?
Bruce Willis was also a handsome dude when he was young.
Yeah.
Not so much, but in that,
In a masculine way, kind of.
yeah, in Die Hard, it was very, that's like, I can
Yeah.
see what's going on there. Sure.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
That chick, who is the woman that plays his wife in that? She was like, oh my God, gorgeous to me, whatever. I was like, I never seen you in anything else. I don't know what the hell this is.
I don't know, but I remember her name. Who was he? Damn. Now they both escape me.
Nah.
I don't know. We're having a weird episode here. We're very mellow.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think we got a good vibe though.
Yeah. Damn.
That's interesting.
Hans, Bubby. You remember that?
Yeah.
He's like,
Hans.
don't talk to him. Don't. He's gonna kill you.
Yeah, God, that movie was not all about, but when I watched that, I noticed a ton of satirical characters. Like that guy was the salesman, and then the bad guy is like the same deal, just overly, and then the brother of the bad guy who gets killed, the first one. All those guys are like
Exaggerations
Yeah.
of literary characters.
of how shitty the person could be. It's like even a fucking, it's like a far cry from that, which I loved. And the police chief, shit, like it's like, who's this guy just blew up a building? It's like, I'm on the fucking good side there, chief. Why don't you?
You know what amused me was the two FBI guys. And he's like, reminds you of Nam, doesn't
Yeah,
it? And he goes,
yeah.
I was 12.
Yeah, I was in grade school or
Special
whatever.
Agent Brown and Special Agent Brown or something like that.
What the fuck? He says, just like fucking Kason, eh? Yeah, the guy, he's got like this backwards cap. My favorite part of
It's
that.
like, I was 12, you
Yeah,
asshole.
yeah. My favorite part of that scene is the fucking when the helicopter blows up. The dude on the ground says, "I guess we're gonna need 2 more FBI guys."
I don't remember that. So
It's so
there's
fucking
a little bit
funny.
of humor buried in it.
The whole thing is,
I never
I'm
caught
saying,
it.
it's that whole movie is like strung together by bits of like comedy,
Really?
which is what I love about it. Yeah.
I'll have to watch it again. It is a good movie.
Bubby. Yeah. And then he just like fucking kills that guy because he deserved it in my mind.
Right,
That
because
guy.
he's just ignorant. I make $1 million deals for lunch or whatever he said.
Let's go fucking deal with these gun-toting Germans.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm running out of juice. What about you?
Well, I mean, if you want to cut it now, that's cool. I had one more thing to talk about, but
Let's
we
do
don't
it.
have to.
No, let's go.
You mentioned that you got a vibe off Lincoln's chair. Do you believe in stuff like that, or have you experienced that before?
Yes and yes.
I would say yes and yes as well. It's not a very interesting conversation, but there's something about like this is the place where this happened, or like like battlefield shit like that. It's very. When I visited the 9/11, the towers, the pit, sorry, I should say the pit that exists there now, right? The twin pit situation, the memorial. That was a really, really chilling thing for me. And I visited at night. It wasn't even open. There was nobody around. That's fucking weird. You can feel something there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But stuff like that, like what is that? I don't get that. Is just my own brain messing with me, or is there something actually there making me feel that way?
I believe there's something there. I felt an energy come off that chair. That was a powerful. There was. All I can describe, there was energy coming off that chair that I felt
Yeah.
to my core, like you said, just.
Yeah.
And I mean, as I approached it, I started feeling it. And then somebody said, yeah, that's the chair Lincoln got shot in. I'm like, okay, this makes perfect sense.
He invented the car.
And Henry Ford built a theater to get him in there so we could kill him in a phone
Kill him,
booth.
yeah. Drunk history, yeah.
John Wilkes phone booth.
John
Why did
Wilkes.
John Wilkes own the phone booth?
What the fuck's up with that? What the fuck?
Right.
Yeah. God.
It was good.
Yeah. Kind of racist as a northerner, I gotta say.
Why?
Because southerners, that's like a big thing. I would
Really?
say. Yeah. What? Really? That's like, classism in Britain. That's like, I would say that's what the classism is over here. It's like northerners versus southerners.
So wait, if that were on YouTube, Southerners would take offense. What do they like? Like the fact that Lincoln got assassinated?
No. I just think it's like you're playing a stereotype of that, it's like,
Oh, when I go into character
like,
as a Southern
I
fuck.
fuck my sister's cousin and shit like that. It's like kind of like the term redneck to me is a racial slur, but it more has to do with class than it does with race. You know what I'm saying?
Huh. So you
Whatever.
just made me think of something. I was going to say, well, you know what? I'm allowed to do that because
I'm fucking
it's
white.
kind of like a black guy using the N-word, which I think is kind of messed up.
And if those are the rules, those are the rules.
So
Yeah.
I just kind of bought into a similar version.
Yeah,
of that.
that's
I was gonna
actually
be
a
like,
good
I'm
point.
white. I can make fun of anybody else who's white.
Yeah, that's actually fair.
Especially so. Remember Eddie Murphy did you see with Nick Nolte 48 Hours? That's a good movie. So Eddie Murphy poses as a cop.
Is it the
And they
sequel
go
to
into
24?
the what?
Nothing. That was a bad joke.
Sequel
I said
to
it is.
24. No, it's not.
Sorry.
No, the premise is
Boo.
Nick Nolte Eddie Murphy is locked up, and he has knowledge of a couple of guys escaped from prison, and they were Eddie Murphy's old, like, running and gunning buddies.
Yeah.
So he gets Eddie Murphy out of prison for 48 hours. So Eddie Murphy's wants to participate in the cop activities. And Nick Nolte's like, no. He's like, I want a gun, I want a badge. And Eddie Murphy goes into this total redneck white bar. And he goes, and he like shoots a gun in there. Somehow he gets everybody's attention. And he goes, listen, I don't like white people. especially you backwards ass redneck country fucks. And he goes, and then he's fucking with the guy, and he goes, that means I'm enjoying this shit. And it was just, it's a good scene. It's a funny scene.
That is funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't mind that. You make fun of me, whatever, but it's like double standards, you know.
Yeah, and he uses the N word. He calls himself an enter.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm an enter with a badge. That means what? That means I have the right to fuck you up or something like that. It's a great scene. It's funny.
You got the right to shut the fuck up.
And like he goes, it's just funny. He's making fun of rednecks.
Yeah.
So he is like this one guy runs. So some guy tackles him and he's like, what's this? And he pulls a wad of money out of the guy's pocket. And he goes, from my job. He goes, you're too stupid to have a fucking job. The whole thing is funny.
You're too stupid.
I don't like white people. This means I'm enjoying this shit. Anyway, it's a good scene.
Yeah. I'll watch that 48 hours. I got a lot on my plate now. Jeez. A lot of movies to catch up on. Except for Dead Ringer. Won't watch that.
I got to, don't watch that. What was the one movie that's definitely worth seeing? Amistad's worth seeing.
Falling Down.
Falling Down. And there was another one you hadn't seen tonight. Don't know. We can
Dead
catch it
Air.
off the webcast.
Yeah.
I should share my 100 movie list with you.
Oh, yeah. Why
12
not?
Angry Men is worth seeing. The original one. I watched...
Is that a World War II movie?
12 Angry Men?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, never mind.
No, it's just 12 guys, 12 jurors.
Oh, I'm sorry. You told me about that. Yeah. Right.
Then what's the... is it Orson Welles movie? The first one, and they're like, it's the best movie ever, and it's the movie that taught movie makers how to make movies and movie watchers how to watch movies.
It wasn't like Vertigo or anything like that. Oh, Rosebud. I've never seen that, but I know that it's like famous, whatever.
It was definitely ahead of its time, but it wasn't. It's hyped so much that I had very high expectations. Was it Orson Welles? Was he the guy who came out of nowhere and made movies and was just like instantly brilliant?
And then turned into a big fat drunk at the end of his life. Have you seen that shit? Oh my God.
You're making me think of who's the other guy? Jimmy Durante? Is that
Durante? I
or
don't
it
know.
might have been Orson Welles. There was something. This woman says, God, who was it? Famous drunk. I want to say it's Jimmy Durante. And she's like, you're drunk. And he goes, my good lady, you're ugly.
Oh, wait. What is it?
And he goes, when I wake up, however, I will be sober. And you, my lady, will still be ugly.
Yeah, what is
Or
that?
something
Wait,
like that.
I've heard that before. I think you've told me that before.
No, I don't think I
Oh.
did.
Maybe my dad.
It's kind of a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. However, in the morning, I will be sober and you will be still be ugly. Yeah. That's a fucking great line.
Yeah.
What was I about to say? Oh, there's this Orson Welles did a commercial one time and it was like for some whatever champagne.
Ernest and Julio Gallo will serve no wine before it's time.
Wait, was that one of them?
That's like it. That's what's famous.
I thought it was fuck. This is why I wish we could show videos because we could just watch it. But it's like he's like passing out drunk and shit during this shooting and they're like
Okay, Google.
Orson.
What ads did Orson Welles make for champagne or wine?
Yeah, I can pull it up on YouTube. I probably got it in here. Right?
The first result is from Wikipedia.
Orson.
Paul Masson.
Yeah, Paul Masson. That's it. Paul Masson wines. The best.
Isn't it we shall sell no wine before it's time? I thought it was
No, it's like it's vintage dated and printed on the bottle. It's like talking like that. It's here.
I
it is.
remember it.
This is just one of them. I don't know what the free use is this for this, but like, action, please. And he's just fucking stone faced, like.
Just do anything?
Just do anything?
Yeah, really?
You put it in front of the camera.
We can. Sorry, here he is.
French champagne has always been celebrated for
I've
its
never seen
excellence.
Ah, he's like fucking hammered it. Whatever. We don't have to watch the whole thing. I just love that shit. He's just like drunk, and they're like, he thinks he's this big shot, so he doesn't need to fucking follow rules. And then on top of that, he's probably blackout. Imagine how much champagne you need to serve to some fucking
It's reminded me of the Vita Vita Vegemin ad from I Love Lucy.
Vita Vita Vegemin. Never heard of it.
Have you seen I Love Lucy reruns?
A couple episodes, yeah. One like one
Some
they
of them are
stomp the
pretty
wine
funny.
with their bare feet.
That's a funny one.
Yeah.
That's from Pretty Woman too.
Pretty
woman. She does an ad for Vita Vita Vegemin, and it's like this magic elixir. And part of what's good about it is it's super high alcohol content. So she's doing like 2 tablespoons and like take 3, take 4, take 5. So she's like hammered at the end. She's like, Vita Vita Vegemin. And then she's like, she's getting all amorous. She's to the direct. She's like, you're very nice. That was a good one.
That's funny. That was a good. I always liked that character. I've only seen a couple episodes, but I always liked her. You know.
Yeah. You know what's something is you don't think of it because she's like funny and quirky in that. If you see her before she's, and she was a brilliant, I think, comedic actress. If you see her when she's younger, she played these like beauty queen. She's a beautiful woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful woman, especially when she's younger. She was in like a Bob
Like
Hope
most
movie.
women.
Huh?
Said like most women, right?
Like right. It's not objective. Or it's not subjective. It
Yeah.
is subjective. It's not objective. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, I got to do one more thing. Okay, Google. Who said we shall sell no wine before it's time? That was him too.
Orson Welles.
Yeah.
According to Business
Yeah, I don't know
Insider,
anything about it. I know he did one for like peas, right? Or blueberries, maybe like frozen peas.
Association with Orson
Yeah,
I don't know.
Welles, who promised for Masson, we will sell no wine before it's time.
Thank you, Google.
Oh, so it's the same company.
Oh, upon my son.
Yeah, I thought it was whatever.
It's dated, and there's that was on
So
Gavin
was
McInnes'
he
show.
hammered in that?
Fucked up, like clearly. Yeah, he's just like, this is like beyond fraternity party drunk. That's like what it looked like to me. He's like, it's vintage, dated, and unminted on the bottle, like all fine French champagnes. It's just like, and they go, action, Orson, and then he's like, 3 seconds go by. He's like, Paul Masson wines. And I learned of this through the Gavin McInnes show. Like, it used to be like part of the show. They used to do that. And he would be like, say something. Say something, please. He would like play on the soundboard when there was a caller. Didn't show up.
Yeah.
Oh, action, Austin. Yeah.
Is this one
That's
of
funny.
Joe Rogan's comedian friends?
No, he's I think what the media would call a neo-Nazi. I wouldn't call him that, but that's what the media might call him. And he was Scottish or whatever, Canadian immigrant, Scottish guy. Started Vice News or co-founded Vice News. Got kicked out. He was the guy that said that transgenders are mentally ill gays.
Okay.
Disavow.
Oh, I remembered what I said.
Yeah.
So if somebody's... Yeah, I can't go down this road.
No, I would say not. But no, what do you mean? What you said? You didn't
It's just
say anything.
It's transitive property. I just apply transitive property to sexual orientation.
There's, Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
I fucking love Norm Macdonald.
He is
He's
a funny guy.
probably my favorite. But there was something he's doing a very similar thing, like transitive property, where he's like LGBTQ, and the L's are this and the B's are, and he's like gets like lost in his own train of thought, and he's like, "Sorry, I'm trying to do some syllogisms." He's just like the funniest fucking interview with them, and it was recently, after he like retired, I guess. But he's like
Yeah,
drinking
didn't
some
he
kind
do
of a
something
cocktail.
bad and lose some good gig he had
Something,
going?
yeah, I don't know. He's involved in some stuff, but he's fucking funny. And when he was on The View, you ever see that?
No.
And they the director, he's like was pissed off because apparently the director or producer beforehand told him like to do some bit, and so like comes time to do the bit, and like a cell phone rings and he like takes it out of his pocket and he's like, "Oh, what's this?" And they're like, "Oh, what do you have? You have a call there?" And he's like, "No, this is a prop." Like this is so he just spoils the whole bit in front of the audience, and the chicks from The View are like, "You're never gonna be invited back." And he's talking about like Bill Clinton killed a guy. He's like, I thought it was a matter of record. Just because he didn't want to do the show. But he's a genius.
Okay.
Whatever.
I got to watch him more. Somebody was giving him huge props, another comedian.
Oh, he's the best.
He is funny. He is funny.
Yeah. Anyway, I know I've been on a rant lately, so we can if you want
to kill it? I'm running out of steam.
no problem.
And it was a mellow one for us.
Yeah, we weren't talking about how much we fucking hated something going on in life right now.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it was good. Good and
Yeah.
mellow.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. I got nothing more.
Happy thoughts. Yeah.
Happy thoughts. Over and out. Sleep tight. Sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams. Yeah.